My daughter, Becky, took a taxi home for safety, but that choice took her life. And this is all I have left of her, a trinket with a clump of hair I cut from her head before the funeral. My name is Jane Hong. I'm a writer, a charity worker, and a mother. In 2017, my life changed forever. Becky was raped and murdered while trying to get home safely in Beirut, Lebanon. She was 30, smart, kind, a manager of humanitarian projects working at the British Embassy. And that night, she did what most of us teach our daughters to do. Don't walk alone. Take a taxi. Her life ended because she trusted a system that failed her. When I received the news, I couldn't stop wailing her name. Becky, Becky. There are no words for the moment a parent hears their child is gone, killed by another human being. Grief is the price we pay for love. But I knew I had a choice: collapse into despair or turn my pain into purpose. That same year, 83,000 women were killed globally due to gender-based violence. That's not just a number. That's 83,000 stories like Becky's, unfinished, silenced, forgotten. Gender-based violence doesn't discriminate. It exists in every country, across every class, every race, every religion. It's rampant, insidious, and often ignored. But I couldn't ignore it, not after what happened to Becky. I didn't want her name to be a mere footnote in a statistic. I couldn't bring her back, but I could devote the rest of my life to protect others from a similar fate. So I began to speak out, to study, to listen, to act. I became an advocate. I started Becky's Bathhouse on the island of Lesbos, Greece. We provided hot showers and washing facilities for refugee women and children. It was a small oasis of dignity near a chaotic camp where thousands suffered in silence. I launched Rebecca Dyke's Writers in the United States. It's an annual retreat where kidlit writers come together to help each other craft stories of tragedy with sensitivity, to spark healing instead of trauma. And then there's Becky's Button. Becky's Button is a small, wearable panic alarm that emits a loud, high-pitched sound when pressed. It doesn't rely on GPS or data. It's simple, affordable, loud enough to shock an attacker and alert others. But it's not a miracle device. It's a preventative tool that seeks to disrupt the root cause of violence. And it buys the wearer a few precious seconds to escape. I believe this device could have saved Becky's life. This belief haunts me, but it also drives me. Since 2021, we've distributed Becky's Buttons across Lebanon, Jordan, Pakistan, and the UK. Our charity gives them away to the most vulnerable because we believe personal safety is a right, not a privilege. We're not selling fear, we're investing in hope. Hope for a future where women are more empowered, where girls grow up believing they have the right to be safe. So my story isn't just about me. It's about a need for a shift of consciousness. We work with schools and universities, engaging young people in co-creating safety strategies. We don't lecture, we listen. We ask, what would make you feel safer on campus? Why don't you report assaults? What stops you from speaking up? And we talk to young men too, not to accuse, but to include. After all, most men don't go around hurting women. So gender-based violence isn't only a woman's issue, it's a human issue. And it will only end when we raise a generation that believes in consent, respect, and accountability. People ask how I keep going. The truth? It's hard. I suffer. Grief comes in waves. Some days I despair, but I'm doing it for Becky, and her death has made me a better person. I don't want her death to be in vain. I want to turn darkness to light. I've avoided numbing my pain by alcohol or medication. Instead, I turn to nature, to poetry, to music. I walk, I breathe, I write, I cry. And one thing is clear, I don't want your sympathy. I appreciate your kindness, but I want change. So I'm choosing to speak out again and again for Becky, because every time I tell her story, I reclaim a bit of her voice. And I remind the world we can do better. So what can you do? Start by sharing this story, please. Not to provoke pity, but to inspire action. Listen more to survivors, to those grieving, to family and friends. Be on the lookout for vulnerable people you meet. Challenge the organisations that could be doing more to protect your community. Support charities that are doing their best to help fill the gaps. Talk with your sons, raise better men, encourage them to protect the females they care for. Ask them to imagine how they'd feel if Becky had been their sister or girlfriend or auntie or mum. Ask them to call out their friends if they're behaving badly, and don't be bystanders. Talk with your daughters. Teach them to care more about their personal safety. Buy them a panic alarm and urge them to carry it. Check what they're doing online. And if you're a survivor, know this: your life matters. You are not alone. Your story matters. My Becky didn't get to finish her story, but I'm trying to continue it. She wasn't drunk, she was modestly dressed, she wasn't irresponsible, she was only trying to get home safely. And that wasn't enough. But what if we made it enough? What if every woman had access to safety tools, education, and community care? Can you imagine this? What if in our lifetimes we were able to say that femicide, the murder of a woman by a man, was a thing of the past? Becky's button is just a beginning. Let it be a symbol. Let it be an alarm that gender-based violence is still a national emergency in many countries. For evil to triumph, good people need only do nothing. Let's not wait for another bereaved mother to have to tell her story. Let Becky's story be the last of its kind. Thank you.
Yes. Get ready.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to day 4, the final day for the HerStory Summit. Wow, we made it to 4 days, 4 incredible days, amazing speakers. It's just been absolutely life-changing. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Gertrude Mache. I am the founder and global curator for the HerStory Circle movement. Initiated in July 2019 with a vision to change the world through our stories. We are women on a mission. We share stories of business and entrepreneurship, health and wellness, family and relationships, creativity, social justice, and spirituality. And it is an absolute honor for me to introduce our first speaker today. I met this incredible woman through a magical series of coincidences. You know how you just know you were supposed to meet someone and you would have bumped into them regardless of where you were? Terry Weems is a woman who has turned into my big sister. We talk almost every single day. If I don't check in on her, she checks in on me. But we had a magical experience very recently, last year. I had come up with this idea to create a reality TV show for this movement. And I put out to my community, I said, girls, come to Australia, come to New Zealand, let's film this. And Terry put up her hand and she was the first person I interviewed. So she came to New Zealand. She was looking after her mom at the time. And her brother said, look, Terry, I'll take over, go to New Zealand, go to Australia, go and have fun. I do believe that her mom wanted her daughter to get on with her life. Terry looked after her mother because she had Alzheimer's, and she had put monitors in the house so she could watch her even when she was away. And every morning we would go online and we'll see what mom's up to, whether she woke up and dressed and had breakfast and who was coming to visit her. We could actually, it felt like we were in the house with her, although we were at a distance. And then one morning, Terry said to me, Gertrude, mom's been sitting in that chair for too long. Something is wrong. So we called Terry's brother, and he had COVID that morning, so he couldn't go home to check on his mom because he lives quite near her. And then when his wife came home, she went and checked, and Terry's beautiful mother passed away. Now, in processing all of this, I realized that Terry's mother's spirit sent her to me. I was able to hold her, to cry with her and be with her as a sister. And we were working on Terry's book. We've been working on her first memoir. And she kept saying to me, Gertrude, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to write. I'm not sure I have a story. I'm not sure. And I kept saying, Terry, when the story is ready to be birthed, it will come out. I call myself the book midwife. I show up when women are ready to birth their stories, and I guarantee that the delivery will be sweet, it will be quick, it will be easy, it will be pleasurable. So, Terry, it gives me great honor to bring you back to our stage. You've spoken several times on all the online summits. People feel like they know you already. Thank you for being who you are in the world. Thank you for being my big sister, checking in on me every day. There's days when my chronic fatigue comes back, and Terry will wake me up in the morning and say, Gertrude, just get up, get in the shower. It's like she's there with me. She is quite a disciplinarian, and I get the courage to get up and keep doing what I'm doing. So the stage is yours, my sister. Thank you.
Good morning. I get the pleasure
morning.
of doing Terry's bio. Terry and her husband, John W., currently reside in Indiana. As a lifelong student, Terry recognizes the need to keep learning well beyond the business education degrees. Terry seeks ways in which her professional skills and education in serving and communicating with others. With approximately 40 years of supervisor / management experience and her zeal to motivate, she has been very successful in helping others achieve their personal and professional objectives. Terry leads by being an example. She knows that as a leader, it is fundamental to recognize and unloose her talents and strengths for herself and others. Her ability to work with diverse communities and serve as a team leader has proven she is a visionary and with a track record in coalition building, grassroots, and field campaign organizing. Terry is grounded in her spiritual beliefs and prays that her eyes are wide open to opportunities in all areas of her life. Welcome, Terry.
Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to be here. My sis has me crying already today. I was not going to address that today, but you know how sisters can be, right? They're just going to tell the truth no matter what, and she knows that I would do that to her as well. So, as stated, my name is Terry Weems. I'm from the state of Indiana. I am her big sister because I am 73 years young. She saw in me what I have been searching for forever, and that's to have someone understand me, not take my skills, my experiences, and work it into their little box on how I should behave. Because those of you that have experienced me this week know that I can be somewhat of a renegade, okay? So, and if I have a vision, you need to buy into that vision because I know it's gonna work, okay? So Gertrude has done that for me. With the help of God, I keep my eyes open. I have had so many different careers in my 73. The last one, I actually walked off a job. It wasn't really a job. I was there at a assisted living facility helping others, as I do. Somebody told me they needed an activities director, so okay, I'll help you. Okay, so for the third time I retired, but the third time I walked out on my own because I got tired of the administration trying to tell me what I could, and should do. Okay, so at 71, never walked off. My work ethic is a lot better than that. Okay, but it was time. It was time, and so therefore I discovered HerStory Circle, and Gertrude and we worked together on a project. I became a first-time author, writer, published because I contributed to an anthology, okay? And I was like, my book's not done yet. So while we're doing that, and that gets published, Gertrude says, hey, let's get you involved in the HerStory Circle podcast. So I became her co-host, okay? When the internet would fail, she says, okay, I'm having issues over here. She asked me, what all did you want to learn? I said, I want to learn it all. Okay, so why did I say that? The internet fell. She texts me, she says, I'm having internet issues. No worries, I took over the camera. Jerry that introduced me is also a part of HerStory Circle, and we are on panel discussions all the time during summits, okay? And we just have a ball. We have a ball. So if we ever contact you and say, we need you part of the panel, don't deny us. You will enjoy it. We would be on there, 5 days in a row? From in Central Time, it would be like 2 in the afternoon till about 7 at night. So one day I still had energy left. What did we do? She says, let's do some recordings for TikTok. And I'm like, I'm happy with that. Okay. So here we go. After being on from 2 to 7, we didn't get off till like 10 p.m. Okay. And it was like, she says, I've never met anybody like you. You're just going. And since we've been here, she says, you didn't take a nap today? And I'm like, no, I didn't take a nap. She says, how do you do it? Okay. One way that I do it is because I rest. I take care of me. Usually around 8 p.m., all devices go off. Okay, because I knew I had to get up and be ready to care for my mother at any minute. Okay, I honored her wishes. She wanted to stay home. She did not want to move in with me. I am not going to be a bother to my children. She has this saying, I was born in East Chicago, that's in Indiana, east of Chicago, okay, but it's called East Chicago. And she would say, I was born in East Chicago, I'm going to die in East Chicago. Leave me right here. So that's why we had to monitor, because I didn't trust that I could get to her in time because I did not live in the same city. But my brother was 3 blocks away. And I suffered through my older brother having dementia. And every Sunday I would take my mother to visit, and I could see a little bit of her dying because she's always felt no mother should die before their child. And it was her oldest son. Okay. And so I handled that by myself because my younger brother couldn't see his big brother doing it, right? So being the person that I am and the person that my mother has made me, my best friend, my sister, okay, I can handle just about everything. But I knew I would not be able to handle her. Okay. So he did step in. You know how baby boys are. He did step in. He saw that I really needed him. And so he did step in. And so I taught him a lot of things about WhatsApp and all this other stuff. And he's probably, hopefully he's out of the bed, but he's probably going to watch the replay. Okay. Because he stays up. He stays up all night, okay? Watches sports all night long, okay? And he's a jock, so, you know, that's how it goes. But he did step in, and he monitored well, and he knew to call my husband. It was my husband that went over and fed my mother the night before she passed because of the COVID thing, okay? And we were on the site. And I said, oh man, she's missing you. Okay, we're joking back and forth, okay? And I'm riding in the car with Gertrude. We're going to the hot springs, right? And so he says, yeah, he says, I'm about ready to put on a mask and just go over there because I miss her too, you know? And so, you know, he was fine and everything. But one of the reasons why we did have to monitor her is that I was fearful of her falling, okay? Because working in an assisted facility, I know that that can happen, okay? But I should have known a year before that when she started moving her furniture around and picking up the rugs, okay, and moving them out of the way, that she was camouflaging her memory loss and how her neuropathy was kicking in, okay? And, you know, I could tell something was going on. So I was able and blessed to have had that job because she told me, she says, well, you know what? You're using some of your tactics that you learned at that assisted living on your brother. And I know you're using some of that on me right now. She was very alert at times, okay? And then there was times when she didn't know who I was, okay? And so people are saying that I've been constantly on the move since she passed, and I haven't had time to grieve. People, you have to understand, when your best friend does not know who you are, whether it's for 1 time, 10 times, or whatever, you begin to grieve at that point. I cried all the way home that day. Okay, so I knew that my best friend was gone. But my faith, and she has always told me, I will not be with you always. Okay, and so I've learned to be the strong woman that I am, the independent woman that I am, because of her and because of my grandparent, my mother, my grandmother. So with me, it's all about keeping your eyes and ears open. I've had so many different positions, and I'm a business education teacher, but I've worked in accounting. I've worked in as a park director, recreation. Okay, I've worked, in just about everything, and I am the go-to person. If I don't know what you have or what you ask me to do, don't worry, I'll get an answer for you. Okay, Google is my best friend. Okay, I will vet everybody. Okay, when I got the address to this place, Google, went in there to find out what kind of place it was, what was the description, and I already knew Georgetown was horrible for parking. So, okay, so it's like, you're not driving, you're going to do Lyft and Uber all week, okay? So those are the kinds of things that I do. When I went to New Zealand, when I went to Melbourne, I did the same thing. And I publicly am going to thank my husband of 36 years. The end of the month, it will be 37. And I publicly want to thank him, even though he's not on Facebook or any of that stuff. I'll show it to him when I get home because he stands behind me 100%. And I am very thankful for that, simply because he is husband number 3. Okay. But my tolerance level is kind of short for, junk coming into my life. Okay. And I will say, it's time to move on. Okay. But I'm going to tell you a little story. When my husband proposed to me 1 month after we were married, he proposed. And what happened was, I said, okay, well, I'm just getting out of that second one. Let's just slow your roll. Okay? So I went down on my knees and I thanked the Lord. I said, okay, now look. Now that's the way I talk to him, because he is my father, okay? I talked to him and I said, look at me now, because 2 I chose. I can't choose another third one. I'm not good at this, okay? So it's gonna be on you. Okay, so you give me the sign, you give me, I'm asking for signs and wonders, right? You tell me if this guy is going to be good for me, okay? And so my mother had already chosen him because I had gone to an affair, and that's where I met him. A friend of mine introduced us. And I came up that Sunday morning after church, and she's like, well, how was the party? Did you do this? Did you? And I said, yeah, I met this guy. Kind of strange, though. Okay. And she says, well, what was it you didn't like about him? You're always prejudging everybody. Okay. You got to run them through all these, characteristics. What is it you're looking for and all this stuff? And I go, well, what's happening is that he came, it's a jean and jogger set, casual. Here he comes with a 3-piece suit and a hat. And I'm like, what is wrong with this guy? But guess what? I found out he had gone to a wedding reception. Okay. Because I asked, I'm like, okay, why are you dressed that way? Okay. Because like I said, I'm kind of bold. And so she says, oh, give him a chance. Give him a chance. Okay. And so she says, you're always looking for somebody that meets up to your qualifications, professional, educated, and all this stuff. He was a refinery worker, blue collar. And the Lord sent him to me. We're sitting there having dinner. And I look at him and I go, yeah. He's like, yeah, what? I said, yeah, I'll marry you. Don't ask me. My father works. Okay, he works. Okay. And so 9 months to the day from the day we met, we got married. 9 months from the day we met, we got married. So don't tell me about what God can't do, okay? Because I am very faithful and true to my faith. My mother raised me that way. She raised all 3 of us that way, but it stuck with me because I am the only girl in the family. And so I met Gertrude at a time, and I met all of you at a time when I still had that in the back of my mind that I needed sisterhood. Okay, it's long time coming, But guess what? Prepared me for it along the way. And so I want to thank all of you. You've wrapped your arms around me. Not everyone wraps their arms around you like your family might, or, I do belong to one of the largest sororities. I have to give them a little plug, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And, and so, but not everyone wraps their arms around you. And not everyone wants to hear your story. All they can do sometimes is criticize what you do, what you've done, what you haven't done when they don't know you. So that is really the premise of my book, which, thanks to Gertrude, has now turned into a memoir. Okay? It is entitled, I Am Your Sister, because I asked my mother that at the age of 10. Why don't I have a sister? Like I didn't know, right? My father was not in the home. I knew I couldn't have a sister. Okay, but I asked that question, and her reply was, I am your sister. I will always be your sister. We are going to have fun in this life, and I'm going to be there for you at all costs, everything. And that's what she did. That's what she did. She told me to go to Australia, go to New Zealand, finish that book, because it's going to be good. Okay, but her short-term memory was just, So it's important that you honor your parents' wishes, your family wishes, because in the long run, it brings you a lot of peace. Okay, there's no argument going on, and it's difficult. Okay, it is difficult to do that. But if it has to be done, it has to be done. And of course, your best friend, how could you say no? So I want to thank everyone, and thank you for this opportunity. I love you too. Okay. Okay. Oh, you got my stuff. You got my stuff. Huh? Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay, we have to mics, and if you can still hear me. I'm sorry, I forgot I was wired. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that partial.
I was just going to make a quick.
Okay, so you can
Sorry.
make your announcement.
All right. Sorry. Hi. I am Kimberly Schaefer from San Diego, a new inventor and entrepreneur. And so my invention is the ring thing. And we're having, sorry. And we're having a raffle today. So there's a pink bag over on the table here. And if you drop your business card in, I'll be drawing later this afternoon. And whatever card comes out, that person will win a blue ring thing. So thank you.
And just to remind everybody, Tammy and Fruits of Our Labor are here. Amazing nonprofit, inspiring women who are coming out of incarceration. They train them, they coach them. We want them to leave without anything. So please go and give a donation. We want them to leave empty-handed today. So everything that they bought, they're asking just for a donation. So if you guys have the time, please go and see Tammy and find out about their project as well.
And I've gained about 25 pounds because of their project. And that's not a lie. It's fine. It's fine. So I am introducing Janelle Kelly, who I just met and I already love and have signed up for some of her things, is the founder of Aligned Life and creator of the Mindset Mastery community, designed to add value to those seeking change and empowerment. Janelle is also the proud mama of two of the world's most adorable fur babies, her 4-year-old Yorkie Macho and her 12-year-old Chihuahua Gucci, who are jokingly referred to as the CEO and CFO of the company. As a registered nurse of 30 years, it is her lifelong passion to nurture and empower others in their greatest time of need. She has built a strong presence in the field of health and wellness on various platforms. After hitting rock bottom from unexpected life challenges and disconnecting from her passion and purpose, Janelle set off on a journey that turned her life from mundane to extraordinary. She is known for guiding others down a path to achieving a clear vision that allows them to live an empowered life. Janelle is an Amazon international best-selling author and highly sought-after international motivational speaker who has shared the stages with other leaders such as New York Times best-selling author Gabby Bernstein. Her certification as a leadership development trainer and trainer of the Clarity Catalyst course based on Stanford University's Business Master's Degree program has allowed her to coach over 1,000 people in achieving their goals. Janelle's mission is to help over 10,000 women by December 1st, 2023 in breaking through their self-limiting beliefs and behaviors, stepping into their own lane and creating a life by design. Let's welcome Janelle.
Hello, everyone. I am so happy to be here with you. And I just want to really give acknowledgement to all the women who have spoken first. We are on our last day. And there have been 3 days filled with incredible stories, empowerment, inspiration, challenges, overcoming those challenges. And just a huge thank you to Erin Washington and Gertrude Mashi for putting this together along with her team and crew, because without them, we wouldn't have this space. This magic wouldn't be created. So as Cindy said, my name is Janelle Kelly, and I am a powerful, caring, loving, inspiring leader. And I hope to share with you today my journey on how I went from a young girl growing outside of Philadelphia. Anybody from the Philadelphia area? No, wonderful. I grew up in a little town called Croydon, and it was referred to as Crudden, and that was the start of my life. So imagine, it wasn't the prettiest place. It wasn't the most inspiring. I see you laughing, Liza. It wasn't the most inspiring community. And I didn't know better then. You know, I had parents that had major struggles. I had a father who is challenged with post-traumatic stress disorder, little to his knowledge. And but it's scary because people with PTSD, they ruin the lives of the people around them unknowingly and unmeaningly, right? So here was this little girl growing up in this town with a huge vision. And I was laughed at for my vision. People thought I was crazy. I built stages in my backyard, and I invited the entire neighborhood to my talent show, right? And is that something? Because here I am 49 years of age on stages, having my own talent show, only always. Yeah. And when I was 7 years old, my grandmother, she passed away from cancer, and it freaked me the heck out. Like, I couldn't go near that hospice bed. I wanted nothing to do with it. But I wrote her a card, which my mom had saved, and it said, "Get well, Nana. Love, Nurse Janelle." And I never wanted to be a nurse. My sister wanted to. And when I was 17, I needed a job. And I answered this ad, and it called me. I was pulled to it. I have no idea why. And I went there, and it was in this old nursing home with people. I mean, these people were laying on the mattresses on the floor. I was picking up old men, old women. They were confused. They had Alzheimer's, dementia. I loved them. I loved that job. I loved helping those people. And I had such an inspiration to move forward. And from that, I became a licensed nurse. And through that, a registered nurse. And then I became the ER trauma nurse. I had these goals and these visions, and I hit them every single time. And I did the travel nurse thing. The problem is I stayed in that career just a little too long. And I think a lot of people do that in life. And either we don't know better, or we stay because of our fear, because we're not clear that there's even other opportunities for us, correct? So I'd like to just have you for a minute, just imagine it's Monday morning. It's about 5 a.m. My alarm's going off for the 3rd time. And I'm laying there staring at the ceiling. And I'm like, how is it even time to get up again? You know, and just dragging my body from the lying position to the side of the bed. And as my feet hit the floor, I was like, there has to be something more to life than this. What once filled me and had me jumping out of bed literally had me nauseated, thinking of having to go back to the hospital one more day, having to do that one more time. And then I knew that I needed a change, and I went out and I sought a change. And really, well, I'm honest, I didn't really seek much. I just said, God, you know, you always give me something, right? Like, I didn't do a whole lot of work with God. I just left it all to him. And, you know, and about a year and a half later, he was like putting it right in front of my face, and I was resisting it. And I couldn't see it because I got so stuck on the hamster wheel. I was running so fast on the hamster wheel, day in, day out, day in, day out, living like Groundhog's Day, exhausted mentally, physically, spiritually, financially, on all levels, yet working 60 to 80 hours a week. And like many of you, especially women, putting everyone else's needs in front of my own, serving from an empty cup. My cup was like cracked in pieces on the floor, and I was still trying to serve from that empty cup. And here was a nurse that I worked with, and she's offering me this opportunity to try this product because it's amazing and it's going to make me feel good. And I'm like, shut up, like, shut up. 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. And I finally said yes. You see that product is right back there on that table. I've carried it around for 6 years. I will for always and forever share these products and this vehicle with people because I put products in my body that all of a sudden released the brain fog. All of a sudden, I realized it was okay to work a 12, 13, or 14-hour shift, and you were supposed to go home and still have energy. And I didn't know that. I didn't know it was possible. Because however was I going to make a big change in a career and a big change in my life if I'm exhausted on all levels? So God said, you need this first. He's like, dear God, woman, will you take this? You know? So finally, when I put it in my body, what took 6 months, took 6 days for me to go, this might be doing something, but I'm not going to admit that I was like, I'm not going to tell anybody that, you know? So I took the products home. I went home for the holidays. I came back and I was a new person. And people were like, what are you doing? Who are you? Oh my God, you're so nice. What do you put in your body? I was like, I don't know, go talk to Aaron. Go talk to Aaron. And all of a sudden I got paid because I told people to go talk to Aaron. And then all of a sudden I'm talking to Aaron. I'm like, why did I get paid? I'm like, girl, is this a business? She goes, oh, Jesus, God. She's like, I've been telling you this for months. And finally, it was 2 months in. Finally, I'm sitting at home and I think I have it on video, honestly. And I sat on my floor and I cut my hands and I realized I was given the greatest gift that God could ever give me. And he said, thank you. Now take with this and do it what you will. So it took 6 months to say yes to, 6 days to feel a difference. 6 months later, my whole life was changed. I was out of management. I was 1 foot out the door of that career that was exhausting me. And here I am 6 years later with you, free of all of that. Now, if you think that journey was easy, oh, heck no. Oh, no, especially not in network marketing. There was so much stigma around it, right? Because people don't understand that piece. But that wasn't really what it was. It was the end of that first year when I ran into every self-limiting belief in this head. It's called the itty bitty shitty committee. That's what we refer to it. There's a program from Stanford that I teach, itty bitty shitty committee, right? There's like 7 of them. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm definitely not skinny enough. I'm not smart enough, right? And it's all there. And it shows up for us over and over and over again in life. So how do we get through that? So when I learned where it came from, and I really understood the roots of those limiting beliefs, because it happened to that little girl in Crudden, right? It was from her. But I'm not that little girl in Crudden anymore when I was 44 years old. So how did I take what was built in the subconscious back then, recognize it, identify with it, and do practices and techniques that when that shows up in my head, I immediately say, oh, I hear you. I love you. Now go sit in the damn back seat. Like you don't get to drive the car, right? Because if we let procrastination drive our car, we never leave the parking space, right? If we left, I don't know, well, I don't understand, drive the car, we never even turn it on. You know, there's all these different things. And you are the driver of the vehicle. I am the driver of the vehicle of my life. And through always overcoming one challenge after the next, and I've been given many challenges. And the divine is so fun to deal with sometimes. When we don't listen to ourselves and our intuition, guess what happens? Divine intervention comes in, and it's not pretty sometimes. It looks like laying paralyzed in a hospital because my lower spine shattered and being told you will never walk again by everyone but myself. It's having a stroke 21 weeks ago from probably built up energy and anxiety and things that needed to release. And they released here. Poop. Well, I had a surgery and an artery got damaged. The difference between those 2 incidents is this time when it happened, I saw all the gifts immediately. I smoothly went right past them. Every challenge, everything. 2 weeks later, I'm interviewing on TEDx stages. 4 weeks later, I'm doing photo shoots. 5 weeks later, I'm in Mexico, Las Vegas. This has been my life the last 21 weeks, and I'm here with you today. And I share that because of the tools and the techniques that I learned. And having belief in something greater than ourselves, and having faith and having a knowingness and a certainty and confidence that you can overcome anything and everything. Someone here mentioned it this week that dis-ease is just dis-ease. Something's off. Something's wrong. And when we're not willing to go deep inside and take a look and heal those past things, guess what, guys? It just shows up over and over and over again. So if it's all right with you, I'd like to take you on a little journey. Do I have your permission? Because I do need your permission for this. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is put down the phones, except for Liza. Everybody put down your phones, uncross your legs, open your arms. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths in and out. Close your eyes. I can see you guys, so you know they're not closed. Okay. We're going to take a deep breath in. Let it out with a sigh. Another deep breath in, and this time when you release it, I want you to release everything that's happened up until this moment that has not served you. Whether you were busy rushing around this morning, maybe you had to get the kids set, the animals, whatever it is. Just take all that anxiety and just take deep breaths as I speak with you. Many times in life, we're at a crossroads. And we're at a crossroad, we don't know what to do. So typically, we turn around and we'll ask 16 different people. Keep those eyes closed. I see you. 16 other people. What do you think I should do? And I asked even the lady at the checkout, my mom, my friend, what do you think I should do? And what happens is we get 16 different answers. And what do we do then? We do nothing. We're more confused than when we started. And I promise you that you know you best, that you have inside of you every answer you need in life. But you get to access it. You get to cultivate your intuition so that clarity comes. And when you're clear, you're confident. When you're confident, you're certain, and you move through flow with flow and ease. So I'm going to take you on a journey. And what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to meet our future self 20 years from now. Someone that has wisdom, that has knowing, that has answers for questions that you may have today. So I want you to imagine that you're walking along a beautiful riverbank. It's a perfect day. The birds are singing, and you can feel the warmth of the sun on your face. And you feel safe and that all is well. As you walk along, you suddenly see a boat driven by a friendly captain. The captain pulls the boat along the shore and helps you in. You begin to sail down the river, but you notice that this is a different kind of river. This is the river of time. 5 years pass, 10 years pass, 15 years pass, 20 years pass. The friendly captain pulls the boat along the riverbank and helps you out. He points to the place where you live 20 years from now. Where are you? Is it a city street, a country road, the mountains, the beach, maybe another country? This is yours, so paint it in. You see the house and you knock on the door and the future self answers. Look into that person's eyes. Those are your eyes. Look at that person's smile. Notice what your future self is wearing, including the jewelry, the clothes, and even the shoes. Your future self brings you into one of the rooms in the home. You have created all of this. Look at the colors, the textures, furniture, and fabrics. Your future self asks you to sit down and then leaves the room. Eventually, your future self returns carrying a beautifully wrapped gift. What has this person giving you today? Allow him or her to whisper in your ear the significance of this gift. And now your future self looks you deeply in the eyes and asks you, what do you want to know? Ask your future self any question from your heart. Ask for wisdom or insight about your next steps on this journey. And before you leave, ask your future self if there's one more thing he or she needs to tell you, or if there's something important that you need to know. It's time to go, and your future self walks you to the door, but before you leave, ask, is there a name I can call you when I come to visit? A name other than my own? Your future self thanks you and says to come back anytime. Anytime you have questions or need guidance, this person is your ally and they're here to help. Now make your way back to the river where the friendly captain is waiting. Board the boat and begin to sail. And when you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes and take a deep breath. I just want to thank you for allowing me to take you there, because for some people, that's an emotional journey. For other people, they've already done a lot of work and they're up and happy, right? And they're like, yeah, so I get it, guys. When I do that meditation myself, who I was the first time I visited that lady, oh my goodness in heaven. Now when I visit that lady, I've already accomplished some of the things and the gifts that she had given me and told me, and the wisdom I needed, I put it to place. So I just want to thank you for that and support you, because the only thing our minds cannot achieve is the impossible, right? And we're either in every moment choosing to lift ourselves up and empowering ourselves, or giving our power away to someone else. Yeah, so it's a choice. Everything in life is a choice. You can be like the little girl growing up in the dirt in Cruden, right? To becoming the shining star, the powerful, caring, inspiring leader. And I did that through community, and I did that through love, and I did that through support. And I do nothing in life now without community. So thank you for being here with me, for uplifting me, for allowing me to share my story, because all you do is you help me rise. And so I hope I did the same for you. Thank you very much.
All righty, we're getting off to a really, really good start this morning. Great job, great job. I am also the moderator from time to time, but I've enlisted the help of several of the women here that will be reading some of the bios, because it's been a very busy week for me. All righty, so Erin, I think you have the next one. You got it, or you want it here? Okay. It's the same. I double checked. Okay.
Okay, Anne Scotland is a humanitarian, social entrepreneur, global impact advisor, and award-winning best-selling author. She has worked with various nonprofits, including Amnesty International, ADRA Development and Relief Agency, and the American Cancer Society. Among her many causes, she is passionate about freedoms for women to make their own life choices in restrictive religious societies. Her live stream talking show, I'm Spiritual, But, airs Wednesdays at 12 noon Eastern on USA Global TV Network. Please help me welcome Anne Scotland.
Slippery. Hello, everybody. I brought you a little joyful cheer this morning, Live for Joy, which is my book, which I'm not going to talk about, so I'm just going to put it right here. Hi, I am Anne Scotland. I am so happy to be here, and can I just say what a privilege and honor it has been this week? And I'm just looking at all your faces and getting emotional, which is actually Janelle's fault because she got me emotional. It's such a privilege and honor to be with all of you and to be with committed people who really believe in what they're doing and believe in the power of love. And for all of our global audience as well. It's just such a privilege to be with you. So yes, I'm Ann Scotland. I'm a humanitarian. I am a social entrepreneur. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It means it's okay to make money and help people. And also I'm a global impact advisor, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. So David Attenborough said, I love this quote, and I did want to share it with you. He said, if working apart, we're powerful enough to destabilize the planet. Surely working together, we're powerful enough to save it. And I really believe that's true. And I knew I was supposed to be a catalyst for change my whole life. However, finding the avenue, the door of where I was supposed to do that work took me a while. I spent 10 years as an actress in Hollywood, thinking that that would be my world stage where I could make an impact. But this was before Me Too. There were so many things that didn't allow you to have a voice or really present the message you thought you could. And I knew that I had talents in other areas that I'd been born with, is leadership and teaching and emotional healing. But Hollywood was a really far cry from where I came from. I did not have a traditional American upbringing. I grew up in a very extreme religious cult-like environment in the middle of nowhere. And when I say nowhere, I don't just mean rural. You would probably call it wilderness. I was homeschooled till I was almost 16, and we were the chosen ones. We wore long dresses. We had so many rules that governed every aspect of our life, from what you eat, no meat, no television, no movies, no pop music, no pop culture, no fiction, no art per se. Nature is art, which made me fall in love with nature. But for someone who was born creative and artist, this was a very odd situation, and a people person. So I grew up with 2 little brothers, and that was basically it. But, you know, we were growing our own food, and we were preparing for the end of the world. But the world didn't end. You know how that was actually a disappointment when everything you've ever known and everything you've ever been taught and your entire mental development is based on that. We used to worry that we wouldn't get to have sex before the world ended, because it was supposed to be that soon. We're like, oh God, please. just long enough. But my transition out of that environment was very, very difficult. I was firstborn, type A, perfectionist. So I said, I can do this better than all y'all. Bring it on. I can compete in this department. I can outperform you. I can out-religion you. And the hardest part was I bought into it 110%. So transitioning into the real world was very tough. I had a gift that Divine had given me, which was a love for people. So when I went to my high school eventually, which was very, very tiny religious school with 70 students in the whole school, I thought I had died and gone to heaven. This was my coming out. It was like, there's people! So I went to college after that. Again, a very conservative religious college. In college, I met at 21. During my senior year in college, I married a man from my religion. He had, unbeknownst to me, very strong sociopathic tendencies. I was a sitting duck. I was trained to be that 1950s housewife, to be, oh, so-and-so's wife, whatever her name is, to be the arm charm, to be, to respect that the male sphere in my life, whether that was in my religious organization, in my family, whether it's my father. I knew for a long time that something was wrong, but I just couldn't see it. There was a lot of psychological abuse, a lot of gaslighting, I literally thought I was losing my mind. And by that, I mean, I thought I was going crazy. And I started having physical breakdowns. I had bleeding ulcers in my 20s. So I was I'm going to either end up in a mental institution or I'm going to die. Finally, he was absent a lot, and finally he controlled all the money very closely. Many women understand what it is to be controlled by money before you have your own and before you're empowered. So I had to borrow money from my girlfriend's little brother in order to hire a private detective. And what I found out was that my husband had other cars, other homes, other women in other states where he was living multiple lives. My religious leader, when I sat down to confront him in the formal way, like this is what's happening, and really expected compassion and understanding, was like, well, you know, the only option you have is reconciliation. Not only was it like, no, I was unwilling, but how? Like, I don't even think he wants to be with me. Like, how is, what? My father said, and he loves me, and he said, I'm glad you're safe. And then he said, I don't know what your plans for the future are, but as long as you know, you will always be married to him in heaven. So my divorce it wasn't just a divorce, it was the complete undoing of who I was. My entire worldview was completely shattered. I'd lost the one person who I thought who cared about me, family, friends, community, my religious environment, and most precious of all, my faith. Because I had kept all the rules. I was that type A girl. And it's like, this wasn't supposed to happen. And I'll just say when I didn't know if the divine had ever been there for me or was there now or ever would be, the divine sent me people. He sent me beautiful people. And one of those was, I didn't even know this gal very well. She was one of my friend's sisters, but she knew what I was going through. And I'd spent a year at home isolated and in shame and couldn't go out. I was in a small community, laying on the floor crying every day and watching TV long enough to make myself stop sobbing. I think that's what my life was like. Had no idea if I could support myself, if I could live on my own. My husband hadn't let me go to graduate school, which is what my plan had been. And she said, you know, I hadn't been to my religious organization, my church. And she called me up and she said, hey, Anne, I just wondered if you would like to come to me to a different church this weekend where you don't know anyone. It's a really accepting kind of place. And I said, yes. And it seems like such a small thing, right? But she reached out and said, take my hand, I'm going to go with you. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to preach at you. I'm not going to fix you. I'm just going to go with you. You know how much that meant to me? I hope you have had someone like that in your life. And if you are so blessed. And when we're blessed, we have such a calling, truly. And with her and other people like her, it really transformed. It gave me hope. It transformed the idea that if that small act of love and courage had been so impactful to me, what might I be capable of? Because I got a lot to give. And what really pulled me out of that depression was something a mentor had told me once, a wonderful female mentor, and she had said, if you are ever completely miserable or isolated and you want out, it's time to go give back. It's time to do things for other people. And I did. I didn't even know where to begin. I started looking. I found Amnesty International right away, which was a huge passion for me. I have an adopted brother from Pakistan. I was very fortunate to travel a lot during college. And I was like, this is something I'm really passionate about.
And so as I worked with them and with other organizations eventually over the years, and Hollywood was in there, so it's crazy. But anyway, that wasn't fulfilling what I thought was going to be my world stage. And so I decided I was going to move out on my own and create something different that was needed and that I didn't see everywhere. So I founded the Global Impact League. And what that is basically a place for your dream, your desire to give back, to grow. For people in this room, for people in the global audience, maybe you have a job that really helps people, which is, oh, what a gift. And yet, consider maybe there's even more. What is it that really, really calls to you? What do you need to fulfill in this world while you're here to feel that you are fully satisfied and you are complete? If you don't have ideas, you can check out the United Nations. They have sustainable development goals. They have 69 sustainable development goals, which range from obviously gender equality, poverty, dealing with hunger, clean water, safe education, and so many more. And if that's not enough, they have 169 sub-targets, which and a fulfillment goal date set of 2030. Which is also something that I feel like is really relevant, because so many people I talk to say, I really would love to start this after school program for kids who grew up like me. Or, I have always wanted to help women in other countries find financial backing for their entrepreneurial business. But, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, maybe when I retire. But you know what we have is now. And when I work with people, because what I do is we sit down in a room or in a virtual community and we sit down, I lead cohorts, we strategize, we plan, we have ideation sessions, and we have guests come in who show you exactly how to build what it is you want. Do you need a nonprofit? Maybe you don't. If you want a nonprofit, how do you even begin? And it really is a community of people growing together to find their own fulfillment and support each other in a global environment. So I say, people, why wait? I've watched people at my retreats in 5 days go from, I'm not totally sure, I was thinking about this and I was thinking about that, and maybe helping animals, maybe Green Planet, maybe this women's issue, to 5 days later having already set appointments to be on television, having already people who said they were willing to give them financial backing, have already connected to other people in the globe who are doing something so similar that you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's the community, it's the togetherness, it's what we've talked about here all week. Being together, working together to really accomplish that. And if you're still not sure what your deepest passion is, I challenge you to look where you used to have your shame. That's why, for me, one of my deepest passions is helping women around the world, working to empower them to be able to make their own life choices, even if they're in a repressive religious environment. Because that was my shame. I was so ashamed of my past. I was so ashamed of looking stupid. I was so ashamed of looking ignorant because of my divorce. I was so ashamed of not having my own choice to go to graduate school because I knew I was really smart. And there's women in countries all around the world who had it so much worse, who have it so much worse today. Some of my dear sisters in Iran know exactly what I'm talking about. So when you find that deep passion, grab onto it. Don't wait. Join me. Join someone else who's doing this kind of work, because it's not hard. There's only one of you, and you have the divine gift of compassion. You have the divine gift of creation. Use what the divine has given you to really give back and to live fully and abundantly, because you have what someone else needs. You're the answer to somebody's prayer. Will you answer their prayer? I'm Ann Scotland, and I hope your answer with me is yes. Thank you.
Great. Okay.
All righty. You know, you guys have been sitting for a while. Okay. You wonder why I laugh so much? I am a certified laughter yoga instructor. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to stand up. We're going to do a little laughter exercise. Okay. And it's all about the yoga breath. Okay. And when you do laugh, you must do a gut belly laugh. Don't worry. The brain will pick up on what you're trying to tell it. You may not laugh the first time, but trust me, we're not laughing at each other. We're just laughing so we can send endorphins in and wake up a little bit, okay? We don't always need the coffee, as I say I always need, okay? So we're gonna breathe in through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and it's okay if you make a swishing sound, okay? All righty, in and out. And so we clap and say, very good, very good, very good. Okay? So now we're going to pretend we're talking on the phone to our best friend. Okay? And we're going to do it in laughter. From the belly, come on. Let's go, let's go. Let's breathe. Okay, let's breathe. Inhale. And exhale. One more. Inhale. And exhale. Did that help clear that fog that you may have been developing? Okay, great job. Great job. Okay, you may have a seat. I told you guys, you heard in my bio, I do a little bit of everything. Okay, Allison, are we? No, I want you to go now. I need you to get mic'd. Yeah. We've had to do some switching. Are you going to do Allison? Which way you going? Okay, I just need a little help. Okay, great. I got you. There we go. And you're gonna breathe.
Yes, I like it. And Allison and I have met via Instagram, so this is exciting for me. And I've asked her if she's going to sing. So, Allison Campbell is Chief Creative Officer, artist, and founder of Music to Change the World. Elevates rising stars through the power of positioning and genre fluidity. Doubling as an expert in both PR and music, Allison is disrupting the system, providing support for other artists to own their body image, age, and other barriers the music industry has imposed. She provides a safe space for artist collaboration, combining genres not typically paired, allowing for ultimate creativity. Whether it's on a stage or in their career, Allison provides rising stars with the platform they deserve through media and music opportunities, giving voice to those the industry hasn't. Now a hip hop and country recording artist and songwriter, Allison first found her voice through musical theater with performances at Carnegie Hall, Madison Square Garden. She's worked with Paramount Recording, Global Hustle Entertainment, and big names in the industry like Grammy-nominated recording engineer Todd Bergman and Grammy-nominated songwriter Kevin McCall. With 2 bachelor's degrees in music and journalism, Allison brings artists together by melding genres and fighting for a clear path to success through public relations and platform creation. She also holds a fashion events planning certificate through the Fashion Institute of Technology, is a member of Entrepreneurship, I know I'm mispronouncing, League, and is the recipient of awards for her PR firm, Heart and Soul PR, such as PR Innovation of the Year, Sabre Award for PR Agency Initiative, and Reagan's PR Daily Nonprofit PR Award. She's a contributor to Compro Biz, which features an InStyle, Uprocks, New York Times, PR Week, and more. Allison sees things in a cinematic way, propelling others in motion through creation and actualization. Let's welcome Allison.
Good morning, HerStory. How are we feeling today? Yeah, good, good. Well, I'm Allison Campbell, founder of Music to Change the World and Heart and Soul PR. By a show of hands, I'm a very interactive speaker, by the way. Who came with a little intimidation today, seeing all these women? Yeah, let's be honest. Who came with a little bit of maybe shyness to tell your story, right? How about unsure of the next direction you're going to take in your business, right? We collectively share these experiences, and as women, we're here, and I think it's just so beautiful what Gertrude has created here for all of us to come together in this unity. Just taking in that for a moment. But today I really want to talk about something really important that we all have inside, and that is our confidence, which we have control over. Yeah. So I call it unleashing your inner rock star. So whether you're standing on a stage right here, whether you didn't have your piece of paper, because I was like, should I bring it up or not? Anne didn't have her paper. Janelle didn't have her paper. It's going to be just fine because I'm going to speak from the heart. But whether or not you are standing on a stage or performing for that next huge crowd, you're negotiating for that raise, we are all there at these cliffs of our life, and it's those skills we have inside that we cultivate with that confidence mindset, that inner rock star that allow us to go to that next level. So starting a little bit about my life, I grew up in a small town, very, very small town, little cultural opportunities. I really found my voice in musical theater. So I don't know if it was like taking on other characters or just being able to really like sing and dance and find that connection through music. But I know all of us have a really interesting story. And some people may say, oh, you have all these multi-hyphenates and you're doing all these things, but we all have those dedicated talents inside, right? And I think harnessing that for me through musical theater was a big one in my life. So a really formative moment for me to find my inner rock star was in second grade. I was sitting at my grandma's piano. Yeah, and my grandma kicked me out of her own piano studio because it's grandma, right? Like I don't need to practice. I resented my mom for putting the timer on the piano, right? Got to sit back down and practice, Allison, sit back down and practice. And then that was such a formative moment where I said, all right, that'll really humble you when you're kicked out of your own grandma's piano studio, right? In second grade. So what can I do from here? I mean, my grandma's kicked me out of her studio. So it really lit a fire for me that said, okay, this is bigger than me. And it's the purpose that a lot of our speakers have talked about today. It's bigger than me. I'm being called to a bigger purpose. So I know this is going to pay off in the long run. I'm going to practice, I'm going to sit down, and I'm going to dedicate myself to practicing piano and then getting up and singing, auditioning from a young age, doing all these things where you just gain that internal confidence. But I wasn't always this outgoing until I found musical theater and until I had that formative moment, that cliff we're talking about where I said, what is my inner rock star? I want to unleash that here. So from there, I really found love in musical theater, but more importantly, I saw how I could move a room, inspiring through song and dance and movement, and just whether the person was next to me in community theater in the small town, standing next to my dad and singing Grease songs, or whether it was going to a big stage like Carnegie Hall, as she mentioned in my bio. That came later in life, but it was because of that repetition, that continual inner monologue of like, I've got this. And there may be moments I don't have it, and that's okay. But when I know I have those cliffs in life and I have that community around me that you all were talking about as well, I can do this. And that deeper purpose inside, that when I come back to it, when I plant my feet here, I am home. Yeah, this is what I'm meant to do, and this is my purpose. It's bigger than me, right? So I fast forwarded. I wanted to take on music and song and dance and do all of that in college, and I had the opportunity to go to music school. And I remember the moments when I would have my mom in the back of my mind, my grandma. Did you practice? Did you practice? Because music school was tough. Even starting music from a young age was really tough. And I remember crying on the phone, Mom, I don't think I can make it through music school. It's so hard. It's so hard. How many have felt it's so hard? It's hard, right? It's hard. Life is hard. But it's those moments we push past that cliff and we think about that purpose. And she said, you're strong. You're going to get through this just like you have in any other parts of your life. You're going to keep unleashing that inner rock star for that next person because that other person needs to hear your voice. It's bigger than you. So I did. And, it was funny because back when I was second, third grade, when I'd really started singing in children's choruses, I remember standing on stage with Joel Gray and Rosemary Clooney and all these people in a small town of Springfield, Ohio, by the way. So that was a big, big joy to have them in this auditorium in a small town. And they said, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Does anybody know the answer to the rest of that joke? Practice, practice, practice. That's the true answer. Practice, practice, practice. So we go back to that little girl that was here practicing on the piano for 30 minutes with the mom setting the timer right, to music school where, you know, I had to really dig in hard. And we're talking piano drills and things you had to memorize and be on for and all these things. And then my mom's voice in the back of my head going, you can do this. You got this. It was when I hit the stage at Carnegie Hall that I said, wow, that's when this has really all paid off. But I didn't know that I was from that second, third grader on stage with Rosemary Clooney, you know, going to actually make it to Carnegie Hall by practice, practice, practice. And there I was, and I had the opportunity to not only stand on that stage once, but twice. And that is a gift. That is a gift. So thank you. So I want to just paint this picture too of, just to give you a little bit of background of my story, but it's not about all these accolades and things that I've done. It's how we take that next momentum. When do we have that next cliff? When I launched my own business between both my music and PR companies, I had left a huge, safe corporate job, one where I had spent 15 years building my career, little money in the bank. What do I do next? And then I said, well, my purpose is greater, because I wanted to connect clients through music, through public relations, through these skill sets that I had built up over the years. And that was the bigger purpose. That's the standing in the I am home place, right? That's the bigger purpose outside of me. So 3 takeaways, and I might go shorter than 15 minutes, and that's okay. But the 3 takeaways for unleashing your inner rock star, yeah? So this is a little method I have, and I'd love to talk to you guys more about it. I also do one-on-one coaching. First one, what do we think it is? I said it's interactive. Any ideas? It's all about confidence. Give it to me, come on. Love from the heart, from that purpose place, right? But it's defining your brand. Who are you? What do you stand for? When people talk about you, what do you want them to say? How do you show up for yourself? How do you show up for others? That's yourself, and that's your brand, okay? Second, any guesses? Training all goes into that as well, absolutely. Anything else? These are all great answers. No wrong answers, by the way. Wear your best. I said, what do I want to wear when I stand on stage and inspire people? Y'all look lovely, by the way. But when you feel good and when you dress well, you're going to perform your best no matter what. You know, that negotiation of that boardroom right seat, that, you know, new opportunity, that new pitch, whatever that might be, right? Wear your best. And then third, any guesses? I love that. And that goes exactly to that point. Thank you. Be you. No one can replace you, right? Everyone wants you, authentically you. So show up as you, because those are the things that are going to move you forward, move everyone forward, because it's you. No one can replace you and your story. So with that, I want to thank Cindy, Erin, Gertrude. I mean, bringing this collective of community of women from all over the globe. Wow. Thank you for the platform. I'm going to leave you with a premiere right here today of my new song. And it's a mantra for you guys today. They're going to play it as I leave. It's called Queen. So if you a queen, stand up. Let me hear you, Queen. Yes. I love it. Thank you for standing up. If you a queen, stand up. Let me hear you, Queen. Yes. Repeat after me. I am a queen. I'm a queen, I know. I am queen. All right. Yes. Let me see all the queens up here. Come on up, queens. Dance with me. If you're a queen, stand up. Let me hear you, queen. I'm a queen. I'm a queen. I know. I am a queen. I'm a queen. I know. I am a queen. I'm a queen. I know. I am a queen. I'm a queen. I know. Let me hear you. I'm a queen, I know. I am a queen. I'm a queen, I know. I am a queen.
queen and now I am a queen. I'm a queen and now. Yay! Yeah! Yeah, ladies! Woo! Other queens, come on up. Let me hear you. I'm a queen. I'm a queen. I know. I am a queen. I'm a queen. I know. I am a queen. I'm a queen. I know. I am a queen. I'm a queen. I know. I am a queen. I'm a queen. I know. I am a queen. I'm a queen. I know. I am a queen. I'm a queen. I know. I am a queen. I'm a queen. I know. Woo! Stand up, stand tall, yes, queens. Oh, we got like a yellow and a black. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, queens. Sorry for the last minute switch, but you handle like a bomb.
It is not.
Oh, everything is just flowing so nice, so nice. My mother has always felt that she was the queen. And she always would tell people, when you meet her for the first time, you know what she says? I'm somebody to know. Don't forget me. She always said, don't forget me. I am somebody to know. So she created me. I used to be the princess, now I'm the queen. Oh gosh. Holy Spirit's working me today. Okay. Okay, we are waiting to get connected virtually with our next presenter. And as soon as that happens, I've been told to keep talking. Oh, wait. Okay, I can read it. I can read those. Okay. Sadina Anna says, awesome. Official Sister J Music, love this. Definitely. And any of you that are watching on Facebook, send us your comments. Send us your comments even on LinkedIn. We can read them and you'll be a part of. Official Sister Music, love this. And she says, definitely want to connect with Allison. Okay, Allison has a comment. Okay, great. That's one beauty of StreamYard, is that people can make comments when they're watching your filming and your podcast and all of that. And by the way, Gertrude has me doing a podcast as well. And also she has created for me a gratitude journal, which I do have copies for sale. And I still haven't completed my book. But that's okay. It's coming. It's coming. As Shamitra said yesterday, that I am ready to birth an elephant. It's not just a little baby. It's going to be an elephant. So, okay, we have Mara on the screen. Oh, there she is over there. We're moving around today. Great. Thank you.
Yes. On here. Mara, answer your phone.
Oh, answer my phone. I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Hey, girl.
Oh, okay, call one more time. I kept hanging up because I figured they're interrupting. Okay,
We can't hear you, but we'll be able to hear you on your phone.
got it. Okay, So call
Get
one
through
more
calling you.
Got
There
it.
you go.
Okay.
Should I start as your?
Let me plug my headphones into my phone.
Okay, I'm going to start while she does that. Mara
There you
Smith is
go.
a former
Okay.
attorney, corporate strategist, and stay-at-home mom who is also the founder of Inspiro Tequila. It is my favorite tequila, and they sponsor Squats and Margaritas podcast, which I happen to host. After studying accounting in undergrad and then attending Northwestern University School of Law, Mara began her legal career at a large firm in Chicago. She then decided to switch gears and apply her business degree as part of the corporate strategy and business development team at a Fortune 500 company. Mara was put on emergency bed rest while pregnant with her twins, and when they were born prematurely, Mara decided to leave the corporate world to focus on her family and charitable work. She never stopped thinking about what was next. Mara always envisioned running her own company, and in February of 2020, she set out on her journey to create a new tequila brand. Mara started drinking tequila when she was looking for a clean, gluten-free spirit that fit into her active lifestyle. Mara's also Squats and Margaritas lifestyle. She searched for a tequila brand that was additive-free with a look, taste, and aroma that appealed to her as the consumer. The perfect tequila did not exist, so she decided to create one. The goal was not just to create a one-of-a-kind tequila, it was also to bring another female voice to the spirits industry. Women are involved in every aspect of Inspiro Tequila's process, from creating the taste profiles to getting bottles on the shelves. As a female founder, Mara's mission is to inspire and support other women on their entrepreneurial journeys through financial support and mentoring. She has done that for me. Please help me welcome Mara Smith.
Hello. Is the sound okay?
Fire away, Mara.
Okay. Hello. Is the sound okay? It's not echoing, right? It's okay.
Good. You're
Great.
good.
Hi. Wow. What a long intro. I'm so sorry to bore all you ladies with that. Sorry. Hold on. I'm turning my volume off. Like double. Volume here. Okay, so I'm so glad to speak to all of you today. You've been listening to so many amazing speakers, so I really hope you can lower your expectations a little bit. I am the founder and CEO of HerStory, and so like how in the world did I end up in the tequila business? And my background, so very basic. And I had no prior experience in the spirits world, and so therefore, I hope my story demonstrates that it's really never too late to make a pivot in a career or enter into a new industry. Really, if you're willing to put in the hard work and if you're open to learning. So as you heard many years ago, like many years ago, I was a lawyer at a large law firm in Chicago, and I worked like crazy, but I loved it. I was learning so much and the deals were really exciting. But then once I decided I wanted to start a family, I decided to make a move to the corporate side. And that's because when I was there, I had, there were no female role models to look to. There were no women partners in my entire department. I didn't have anyone to look to see like, how could you possibly balance working at a large law firm with, you know, having a family. So I decided to change and I went to the corporate strategy group at a Fortune 500 company. And there it actually sparked my entrepreneurial spirit for the first time. I was like studying consumer trends and insights. And I really, I love the whole ideation process of it. So I was like, oh, I'm thinking about like thinking concepts. Maybe I'm going to start my own company. And, you know, I was trying to think of like ideas. So maybe I'm going to open a branch of an ice cream franchise. I'm in Chicago, so really not the best locale for ice cream. So I'm like, okay, that's not going to work. Well, what happened is, as you also heard, my corporate career came to kind of like a screeching halt. And that is because I became pregnant with my oldest, who are twins, and was put on emergency bed rest. And like my last day of work was like very sudden. And then I had preemie twins, and I made the decision to stay home because I thought they needed my attention. I was very fortunate to be able to make that decision, but it was a huge change for me and something I never anticipated. It just never occurred to me that I was going to be out of the workforce. I don't think anyone who knew me, it never occurred to them. I was like really myopically focused on kind of working my way up the corporate ladder. It kind of just shows that things get thrown to you and you have to be flexible and pivot. But I became CEO of my house and took that just as seriously as my job outside the home. And then I had a third child 9.5 years later. So, but I was always still thinking of ideas and what I would do if I started my own company. I probably just like maybe listened to too much like how I built this or watched too much Shark Tank. But after being home for 16 years, I finally started my own company and had the impeccable timing of founding it in February of 2020, right before the entire world, shut down. So the reason it was tequila company is because, as you heard, I'm a tequila drinker, but I didn't realize the tequilas I was drinking had additives. So really, I thought here was an opportunity to create an additive-free tequila, focused on female consumer who's overlooked in the spirits industry. And I also thought there's an opportunity to make an impact. And that is because, like in many industries, women are very underrepresented in the spirits industry. I think it's less than like 5%. The spirits companies are actually owned by women. Thought if I was going to do something, I can make an impact and add a female perspective to an industry where they don't have a lot of them, and by having women involved in every part of our process. And the point is that it really doesn't matter that was tequila. It could have been anything, and it could be any venture. The question is, how do you actually execute? So I like to say I'm not really a motivational speaker. I'm a motivated speaker. So a great idea, following your passion, having confidence, those are all great attributes, but they don't really do anything if you don't make it happen. So if you don't go out there and pound the pavement and get to work, none of those really matter. So I started just diving in, researching. I was reading books on the industry, listening to podcasts, subscribing to newsletters, reaching out to industry veterans. The information is all out there and at your disposal. And you can really educate yourself very quickly if you're willing to put in the time to do it. So, like so many women, actually, I felt that to earn credibility and to be taken seriously, I had to be over prepared. So I went above and beyond. I was took a course offered by the CRT in Mexico, the governing body for tequila, on the history and production of tequila making, and became certified. So I felt like to be taken seriously after being home for so many years, I really had to go and be really prepared. I think I glossed over the fact that I had a huge gap in my resume. I kind of would like never mention that to anyone. Say, oh, I was a former attorney, worked in corporate strategy, and like kind of pass over the 16 years I was home. Think like society in general, I also just did not value my role as a caregiver enough. I didn't look at it as work that gave me additional skills. And it took me a lot of time and a lot of self-reflection to acknowledge that I honed many skills as a stay-at-home parent that are directly applicable to being successful in business. I had preemie twins. I can multitask like the best of them. I had 3 kids in all different activities, so super efficient with my time, right? And no day with children ever goes as planned. And same with a startup where I'm constantly, problem solving. So I finally recognized that I actually am qualified to run a business, and I actually do have the skill set. I have all the skills that I had before I was home, and I actually developed many new skills that apply and are great in the startup world. So no matter though how much effort you put in and all the research you do, I think you can't do it alone. So it is really important to have a supportive community behind you. I have great friends who are extremely supportive of my startup, but I went in without any business contacts. So I started reaching out. I would connect with people on LinkedIn. I joined tons of women's groups of founders that are supportive and collaborative. I joined consumer product groups. I asked for introductions. And more importantly, I went and prepared every single time I was reaching out to meet someone, and I followed up on every single introduction. And then one thing would lead to another. And now I'm really fortunate that I have this ever growing, amazing community of female founders and leaders behind me. And these are the people I can go to. I need to ask for a resource, or I'm doing a pitch and I have someone that I can like practice with. Or I'm looking for introduction and someone's going to know someone. And I feel so fortunate for that, that to me it was also really important to pay it forward. And how could I give back? So, because so many women offered me guidance and feedback, I decided to, make sure that I could do the same thing going forward. So that is why we support other female founders on their journeys through grants and mentoring. And the reason this is important is because we are not a big company with a lot of funds. I'm a bootstrapped startup, but we do what we can. And that is really my message. There's always something we can do, no matter what stage we're at and where we are, that we can support and lift up other women. And not just in the month of March. I totally appreciate that we're, highlighting and, recognizing women's achievements, accomplishments, contributions in March, but we can do the same thing during the other 11 months of the year. And it could be little things. You can answer an email. You can provide feedback to someone. You can buy women-owned, gift women-owned, make an introduction, refer another woman, connect someone with someone who you think would be helpful. So I just think there are so many little ways that we can support each other. And I just am a huge believer in collaboration over competition, and being everybody's cheerleaders, and other women's cheerleaders. So if you send me a LinkedIn message, I will respond. Not great on Instagram, but LinkedIn's my jam. So I just hope everybody can realize that it's really never too late to make an impact. And I hope that I can make one. Awesome. And find me on LinkedIn, Mara Smith. As I said, I'm like LinkedIn Smith. Sure. Yes. So really, I've been fortunate that I have not raised capital. So I'm bootstrapped. And there are a number of reasons for that. And that, one, I really wanted to have proof of concept before going out and raising capital. So like getting to a certain level where I can prove out the concept myself first. I also have a vision, and when you take other people's money, you have to, you have other people's voices as well. So I really wanted to kind of pursue my own vision first. And it's a lot of work. And frankly, right now, I don't have any extra capacity. It's like one person doing 10 jobs. And once you start fundraising, that is a full-time job. What I would say is being really careful, but when we do fundraise, finding money that's smart money. Not all money's the same. So, I mean, even though I haven't fundraised yet, I have like an entire list of, potential places I would go, starting more with angels than VC, in all honesty, and groups, especially groups that support women-owned. But I think finding people who can help scale you, and that will like work and promote and help you move the brand along, and not just, just the money piece of it. And I also think looking at other options too. small business loans. Like I'm in Chicago here, and the first women's bank opened in Chicago, which I think is a fantastic resource for small business loans for female founders and things like that. So looking at like some alternative funding sources as well, and not going straight to VCs. But even starting, there are a number of angel groups too that specifically look for women-owned businesses. Sure. Well, I love it. I can't hear. Just maybe repeat the question. Yes. Mm. 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 Yes. I did it right from the beginning. And actually, so remember my background, I'm a lawyer, so I'm also a fool for a client. So I was able to kind of do all my own. I still do many agreements that I probably should not do. I do on my own. So I actually, right off the bat, I did it as an LLC right off the bat. I wanted to have the structure in place. I wanted a pass-through entity. I wanted my personal liability limited, which you need an LLC. It's so easy to do. And there are so many like online resources. It's not hard to set up the LLC. There are, I think it's like CorpNet or things like that. I did a Delaware LLC specifically, even though I'm in Illinois, because how they're treated and things like that. But that, yeah, I think it's good I think it's harder to convert something later. I mean, some people think that you need a C Corp later if you fundraise, but I think you can still do it as an LLC. But yeah, I did it right, right off the bat. But thanks, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks. Bye-bye.
To medicines and vaccines to people living in mostly low and middle income countries. She partners with the Miami Sierra Association in Burkina Faso. Okay, I'm crucifying this, but anyway, to improve access to education. She'll straighten me out. Healthcare, water and sanitation, economic development, and environmental protection. She is also a leader in the Saunderton Telford Rotary Club, which supports community development close to where she lives, as well as regionally and internationally. Further, she serves on the board of directors for the Keystone Opportunity Center, which works to provide access to food, housing, education in her local community. Lastly, certainly not least, she fosters kittens and puppies and is happy to watch the beloved pets of her friends and neighbors in exchange for donations to CAFA. Here we go, Catherine.
Oh, I think I don't need that, yes. So thank you. As mentioned, my name is Catherine Huth, and I'm already inspired by so many of the stories that I've heard here today. It's so neat to hear just keywords that are just so important to me: empowerment, passion, purpose. And so courage. I can see so much courage in everybody who steps up here to talk about what they have learned and what they're doing with their lives. And so thank you for sharing those stories with me here today. So, just to start out with my story, I was born at Booth Memorial Hospital for Unwed Mothers in Philadelphia and had a difficulty trying to figure out my identity for many years. And so I really just tried out a lot of different hats, which we all do. And I realize that now. I did eventually meet my birth father and his family, and my birth mother's sister and her family. And it was really helpful. It greatly enriched my life, but it didn't really give me that sense of identity that I was looking for. I gradually realized that we each create our own identity. We're not born into something, it's not a magical birthright. And so then I started really connecting to what felt great. And what felt great to me was helping other people, beings, taking care of animals. I started that when I was a child. Um, but I also looked for other opportunities, just working in homeless shelters or with food pantries, building houses. I said yes to every opportunity that came my way to help people. And eventually I realized that although it felt good at the time, I worried that the changes that were occurring were not lasting. And so I wanted to figure out how I might be able to support empowerment of people so that they could have more lasting changes in their lives. And so when I became a mother, I had a great experience with my daughter that really helped me understand empowerment a little bit. She had come to me, she was very young, with her homework and wanted me to help her read through it and make some suggestions. So I did. I let her know what I thought and gave her a few ideas for how she could make it better. And so she worked on them for about half an hour. She was really little, maybe second or third grade. And then she came back to me and she just said, "Mama, I just can't do it. This is too much. How about I just hand it in the way it is and I'll take whatever grade I get?" And she was so upset, which I felt terrible about. But I thought, okay, this is going to be a learning experience. She's going to turn her homework in. The teacher's going to say, "This is nice, but you need to make some changes here." And then she's going to come back to me and tell me I was right. And she's going to ask for my help. And then we'll have a really great opportunity to make it better. Well, that's not what happened. She came back to me and she got an A. So the person learning the lesson was me. And so it was the best possible outcome, right? And so then I realized then that she felt the confidence that she needed to do her own homework. It could have started down this path of I would have been happy to do homework with her every day until she went to college, but that's not what happened. So she figured out how to do it on her own. She felt great. She was an excellent student. She did go on to become a teacher. She now teaches first grade, and it's amazing. So she takes these children that come into her class who don't know anything and helps them feel empowered from and transition from being read to now being the ones who can read and write themselves. And so I think it's really neat. So in my work, I lead an international regulatory group, and we work with governments all over the world to get approval of medicines and vaccines. And what I thought my role was when I became a manager was I would need to first learn everything that needed to be known about a product and then somehow teach this team of people to write about it. And so they could explain to the governments what things are and how they're done, how we manufacture and test, and how everything was developed. If that was the model that I actually followed, we would have never met any of our goals. These dossiers that we put together to file with governments are thousands of pages long. There's no way I could ever know all that. And so once I accepted that and I could be honest with my team about the fact that I really don't know everything, I really just offered support for their empowerment so that they would go ahead and become experts in whatever part of this thousands of pages that they were responsible for. And so then they would be great. They kind of own their own business. And so it worked out beautifully. If they got stuck, I would help them. If I couldn't help them, I'd bring in somebody else who knew far more. And so then they had the skills to do their work then, and then also go out to lead other teams to do similar work. So just a continual lesson of how important empowerment is to me. So all of these lessons led to an experience that I had about 4 years ago. I was working with a colleague to register a vaccine for the Ebola virus. And so it was after that big outbreak, the 2014, 2016 timeframe, and we had a vaccine that we thought was going to be really effective. And so we worked with the World Health Organization and many of the governments in Africa to figure out how we could get the vaccine to people the fastest. And typically it happens sequentially. Each government will review one by one. It usually takes several years. But we didn't want it to take several years, because when you get an Ebola outbreak, it can kill 50% of the population or more. And so we wanted to shut it down. And it was an amazing experience in working through that. But even more importantly, I ended up working with a colleague from Burkina Faso. So all this time, I'd been dabbling in all of these different causes and trying to help wherever I could. But when he told me his story, I knew that this was my purpose. So he grew up in a remote village in Burkina Faso. There was no school, there was no clean water, sanitation, no healthcare. He somehow managed, his father thought it was really important that he become educated. And so he somehow managed to go to another village at the age of 6 and just learn. And so he eventually became a physician and then ended up working with me and with the World Health Organization to register this Ebola vaccine. Well, through the time that we were working together, I realized that some of the things that I had been doing here, the skills that I had gained over my many years of attempting to find my purpose, could be used to help this village that he grew up in. And so we started the nonprofit organization, the Concorona Alliance Foundation, or CAFO. And CAFO means thank you in the local Bobo language in Burkina Faso. And so in the past 4 years, we've built new classrooms and a health center, a library, housing for teachers, housing for healthcare workers, a pharmacy, 3 water towers. And this year we're going to start building a middle school. But when I say we build it, it's really not we. The people who are building it are the people in the village. So when the introduction described Mami Sierra Na, that is an association that the village created. When we said we want to work with you and see what's needed, we said, you tell us. We're not going to tell you that, we have an idea of what you really need. And so it's been amazing. As soon as this opportunity to improve their community arose, the people just jumped into action. And so they would dig ditches and find sand and stones to make bricks and haul the bricks and haul the water to make the bricks. And so they are building their community. And so it's just been the greatest lesson for me in just how important it is to give people just the tools that they need and let them really make magic with whatever it is that they have. And so this is a big experiment, right? This is something that we're trying. As far as we can tell, it's working, right? There are new jobs. The education graduation rates from elementary school have soared from 4% 4 years ago to 70% now. So now we have all these children who are graduating from elementary school, but there's nowhere for them to go because there is no middle school in their village. And so it's just been a really rewarding experience so far, but my hope is that by giving people these opportunities, they will be able to then spread those further. Just one last thing I wanted to mention is Burkina Faso, if anybody is familiar, it has been in the news a lot. There's been a lot of jihadist activity since about 2015. So people come in from outside the country, they try to get recruits from all the people who have no jobs or purpose or any ability to really support themselves. And then they create real horrible terrorism. And so you can just imagine what that looks like. And so people often ask me, are you sure that you want to be doing all this work in Burkina Faso when you know that there's all this unrest there? And I am sure, because my hope is that by creating this really strong core of empowered people, they will help their government, their community figure these things out. And so then ideally they'll come up with the solutions for how to create a more peaceful and prosperous environment. And so we'll see, but I'm definitely willing to keep things going and to do the best I can to just support their empowerment so that they can change their entire environment. So that was all I wanted to share with you, but thank you so much for the opportunity.
I need you to sit tight because we're going into the Q&A. I'd like for all presenters to please come forth, please. You can, whoever wants to sit can sit. I'll pull chairs over for you. Right now, my energy is flowing overtime. So if you noticed, I've just been walking, trying to calm myself down. Have a seat, hon. Okay, and I will continue to walk the mic as well. Do I have everyone? I do not want to sit, okay? My energy level is up rather high right now. Okay, so we have any questions for anyone?
Thank you. I have two questions, one for Catherine and one for Anne. So I think I'll just say both of the questions and then let you answer. So Catherine, what fantastic work you're doing. Thank you for that. I'm also a Rotarian, and so I'm just interested in knowing how you partner, or if you partner with Rotary in any of that work. And then my question for Anne, again, what a powerful story and good for you for thriving. I had a not similar, but an experience with a religious group that I was in for 14 years, and some untoward things happened. And I was the one who spoke out about it and got ostracized. So I understand when you have to separate your faith from people. And I think that's actually a really good process in the end. But my question for you is whether you've been able to reconcile with your family and any of the members of your community or not. So those are my questions.
Oh yeah, I actually have. Yes. So I'm hard of hearing, so I missed the question. Was it who do I partner with? Oh, yes. Thank you so much. So so far, we have been just beginning to work on international grant for through Rotary. So the way that Rotary works is they will work to strengthen existing infrastructure in a community, but they can't build schools. And so this year we're going to go ahead and build a middle school, and they can't help with that, but they are going to help purchase books, desks, electricity, and water. And so I'm really thankful for that. And so look, so many of you have started businesses, and you know how it is. It's just difficult. And a lot of times when you get started, you infuse everything you have into it. And so this will be one of the first big partnerships that we have. And so we're really looking forward to having the help. So thank you for your question.
And thank you. Yeah, so it's a really interesting question, and I'll keep it short, but the answer is yes and no. Partly because of my personality, I'm a fighter. So I wanted at first to be the revolutionary who would fix things and change people in that way of like, but that, don't you see? So after many years of sort of, doing clashing heads, if you will, with the other people in my family, especially also my community, I hid for a long time, which now I look back and I realize, not from my family, but from my entire community after that divorce, I moved all the way across the country
started 100%, kept like 2 girlfriends. Like I just totally wiped clean that entire swath of my life. I felt like I had almost a split personality, like that had been some other person. So in some ways it was very painful because it was very, very isolating. In other ways, over the years, I was able to start finding other pieces of people from those communities or similar communities, which I still do, who were kind of lost and looking to get footing and just feeling completely alone and isolated. And I'm like, I'm here. Let's talk. Let's create a community where which is partly why I started this show. I'm spiritual, but the streaming TV show, because it's 100% inclusive spiritual community. There's no agenda. There is no, you can be any religion, you can be religious, you can be not religious. Come share your personal story. And if any of you are interested, please let me know. Share your personal story so that other people can feel free to talk. People from others like cult-like environments who have felt like they didn't have a voice, and also see what's working for other people so that you can find your own vertical relationship, which was what was always meant to be in the first place. We weren't made to be cookie cutters. Like we have different voices, different appearances, different personalities. Why should one religious like formula absolutely fit every single person? With my family, and then I'll stop, but with my family, it was a lot more challenging. I was very fortunate to meet a really good salt of the earth man as my second husband. He actually came from a similar background, even though neither of us were practicing, which was a gift because there was an ability to relate. You know, but my father still didn't come to my wedding because there was going to be wine there, and because you know, there were I was going to do one waltz with my husband, no dance floor, just, you know, like the pieces, the struggle to this day is knowing that and I say this in sincerity with some of my family, the religion is so much more important than the family. And it's just hard to grasp, but over time, the gift came of, I wouldn't say completely forgiveness, but instead of fighting it and being angry so much, it was about acceptance. And when it was someone like my father, who used to be the man I worshiped as a little girl, I was daddy's little girl. Now I think of him as, he was a little boy once too. Everyone was little once. They were precious, they were untarnished, they hadn't had their own programming. And if I can come with a place of compassion for that, then I can just see him as a fellow human being. We don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree, or he may not, but I will. So, but thank you for asking, because yeah, it's a long road, but it's worth it. And it comes back to here. You'll never be able to win everyone over, but once you learn to love yourself, that's when you really can step into your power. So, thanks.
So true. Mine is just more of a comment. This is probably a big surprise to a lot of people. I just want to come here and I sort of told Gertrude this morning a little bit. I went to a women's conference in the beginning of January, and it was expensive. My mom actually had to put it on her credit card because I couldn't afford it. Many of you know my story right now and what's going on with me. And I left that conference and there were 200 women at that conference. It sold out. It was $1,200, which for my mom is a lot of money. For me, it's obviously a lot of money right now as well. And she had to put it on her credit card. And I left there with 0 contacts. Not one networking person, not one person reached out to me, not one person sent me their email, nothing. A few Instagram follow you on Instagram, I'll follow you on Instagram. $1,200 of my mom's money. I still feel guilty about that, I'll be honest, because that's a lot of money for my mom. And I was telling Gertrude that it had all the bells and whistles, everything you can imagine, pink party, you know, bougie this, bougie that, great. And I came here almost not coming, quite frankly, because of everything that's going on in my life. Many of you know everything because I've talked to so many of you, so it's not a secret. My daughter had a major test on Tuesday in the hospital, and I just was not going to get on that plane. And Aaron and Gertrude were like, you're coming. We're going to do everything to do because you need to be here. These women you need to be surrounded by. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go. And I'm so blessed and lucky that you guys made me come on that plane because I've cried in front of so many of you. So many of you have handed me tissues. This is Mama T now to me. She's not Mama T. And I told my story for the first time to so many of you in public, which has been very difficult because I've spoken all over the country, like I said, but never told my story. And so I've talked on Thursday about 1 dime versus 10 pennies. And I feel like I'm truly leaving here with a whole bunch of new family members / sisters. And I just want to say thank you, because I came here almost not making it. And I feel very lucky and very blessed. So I'm very grateful. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing, Cindy. Thank you. I think we are all feeling that way. We are all feeling that way. It's been wonderful. Well, this has been great for me. I'm glad that Regina told me about it and I'm here. And my question's for you two ladies, because what I noticed from all of you all is that everybody had a community. It wasn't like, it's just so many different things. So my goal basically is that I'm trying to reach the Afro-American women community because I believe it's needed. And so I thought about what you said. And so in my heart, the things I've been through is domestic violence. I've also been through sexual abuse. So I really want to try, because right now I am retired and so forth, but it's a goal that I feel that I want to be. And I also had extremely low self-esteem, and a Black woman helped me. And here I am today. I love myself. I'm sitting in the room today thinking in my mind, I'm okay and you're okay. But in the past, it wasn't like that. I would be very passive and it'd be like, you're okay and I'm not. And I feel so good. And a Black woman helped me get to this point. I've also had other white friends that have helped me get through college. And these were educated women, and I still have a friend that's educated that's still helping me. So I know what to do. But I just feel that my community as women, we need it. So right now I'm just praying. So I want to know, what kind of advice where can I start? So yes. I don't know.
Okay, so I love this question. So the vision and the mission for the HerStory Circle movement is to grow tribal leaders. You are the women we're looking for. We created this platform, and for me, I've done 3 TED Talks. You all know about TED Talks, right? The TED tagline is ideas worth spreading. How can you come up with an idea that you can talk about and it spreads? Our tagline is inspired ideas ignited and implemented. So we are lighting fires in other women's hearts. We're sparking something, right? And we will hold you every step of the way to help you create the community you want to create. When I started this, because you weren't here when we launched, this movement was started from a personal experience. I was married for 27 years. I had a $4.5 million property investing business. I went through a divorce in 2015. My mortgage was paid off in 2017, and I lost everything. I was living in my car. I couldn't even tell my adult children the situation I was in. I knew I would bounce back. Life has kicked me back so many times. Whenever I hit rock bottom, I get excited. I'm like, okay, the only way from here is out, right? I can't get any lower than this. And I put a post that went viral on Facebook. I said, I'm looking for 100 women who could share their stories. We're going to transmute our pain into gold. And you will tell that story from a position of strength. Whether you've been in a domestic violence relationship, whether you've been raped, whether you're like me and you've lost everything and you're living in your car. How can we share inspiring stories? 4,500 women responded in 15 countries on Facebook. And I started a movement with no money, no skills, no knowledge. What I knew was that my tribe was out there. And look at what we've created today. It started with 100 women who told 10 friends, we grew to 1,000. We told 10 friends, we're now at 50,000 women in 25 countries. And I'm just one ordinary woman with a big vision and a big dream. And a big heart. Thank you. So all the support that you need, it's all about collaboration. You look at Erin. We've collaborated to make this happen, right? Erin is living in Atlanta, Georgia. And when we met, she said to me, Gertrude, Washington, D.C. is my place. I knew a lot of people. I used to live here. That's why we're here. This is a collaboration. Every single person who has a booth, these are our collaborators. We could not have done this without our sponsors, without the people who sponsored these booths. Women need to know that when we start working together, that is our strength. That is a superpower that only women possess, because when we move together, like you said, when we lock arms and we move, we are a force unto itself. So tell us your name. Linda Foster. Anybody here in Washington, D.C. who would like to be part of this tribe? We're going to start the Tribe for Washington, D.C. through you, Linda. And we will be back in D.C. in less than a year. Maybe we'll use the same venue, but thank you for stepping up. And this goes to anybody else who's either listening to this video, who's in the audience right now. We are looking for tribal leaders. We want this concept to go viral, because the funds that we raise through our books, through our magazines, we seed grassroots projects to get women out of poverty. The lady at the back said to me just now, I love your earrings. This is a social impact project. I sat with a group of women in Zimbabwe, impoverished with no money. I had bought these earrings in a craft market for the equivalent of 20 US cents. This woman was creative. If you look really carefully, there's intricate detail that she's put on this necklace. It's just made out of wood. She just used the resources she could find. I bought the earrings, her necklaces. I have them on my website. She will take a picture with what she's made, transmit the picture through WhatsApp. No, series, I don't need you to be. So we started a cooperative, and I said to her, can you train other women to do what you're doing? I will raise the money to get you more materials. She did that. A woman will take a picture of herself standing outside her hut with her 5, 6, 10 children, no income. The average person in my country in Zimbabwe exists on the equivalent of 30 US cents a month. Zimbabwe is a country without a currency. We are using US dollars. We have the highest inflation in the world. So unless you've got kids who live overseas, people don't have access to physical cash. We're bartering for basic food commodities in my part of the world. So you will go to the poorest village. There's no electricity, there's no running water. Guess what? These women have got 2, 3 cell phones powered by solar technology. So part of what this movement is doing is I've designed an app that will connect these communities with us. She will take a photograph with her cell phone, wearing the earring, the necklaces she made. She transmits that image through the app. We grab that app, I expose it to all of you, my 50,000 followers. And instead of you paying the 30 cents you would have got in Zimbabwe, you will bid for this. By the end of the month, some of my women are getting $200, $300 from another woman in another part of the world who just wants to empower one of her sisters. The other thing about this app, and this now applies to all of you in Western countries, is this. Women are missing the opportunity to use their voices. We're missing the opportunities to go into the corporate world. Diversity, inclusion, and belonging is a huge topic for most organizations. Everybody needs to show that they have representation. And we're not represented, right? So imagine we're building a database of organizations looking for women like you to come into their spaces, run workshops, speak at conferences. The diversity Connector is an application that gives you exposure to speaking opportunities. For those of you who didn't connect with Donna, please stand up, Donna, so everybody sees you. This is one of our sponsors. The Mentor Studio are here. And they have created thousands of speaking platforms for us. So if you haven't talked to her, please, Donna, maybe you might want to come and say a few words.
Right? I'll just share a few things here. I know a lot of us here are speakers, authors, podcasters, and I'll get to know each and every one of you. And over the last 4 days, I have fallen in love with all of you and Gertrude, who is actually part of the Mentor Studio as well. And so this afternoon, I'm going to be sharing an opportunity that you guys may not want to pass up. I'm going to share a little bit about my story and how I got involved with the Mentor Studio, who we work with, and what it can do for you. So stay tuned. We're going to, I think, sometime after lunch. So yes.
Thank you, Donna. So let's carry on with our questions, I think.
Questions?
So undoubtedly, all of us were impacted by the pandemic, but with a musical career, and my son is a performer as well, that carries special challenges, and you seem to have rebounded really well. But what did you do during the pandemic to keep your career going? Because I think that would be instructive to all of us who are facing various challenges. Thank you.
Well, I'll speak first, since I have the mic. I was discovered during the pandemic by Gertrude, okay? And I was able to contribute to an anthology. I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Terai Trent, The Awakened Woman, okay? And she happens to be a sorority sister of mine. And I ended up calling her for information during the COVID and was discovered and asked to write my chapter in the anthology. So it can be done. The virus was just another step for you to get moving and taking a look at what was happening to the world and trying to decide. I worked in assisted living during the COVID and never took COVID home to my family or my mother because I was on alert. And still today, depending on situations, I still mask up. So we just have to rethink that it can be done. Look, they got through the wars. They get through the wars. People survive. And ladies, you know, we are survivors. Next.
Thank you for your question and congrats to your son as well. I think the whole period was, as Terry mentioned, just super impactful. But during that time was a lot of writing time, a lot of really developing my catalog, really thinking about, you know, having that time and silence to really write, because I think that's a huge part of it. And I was finding myself, even as an artist, my background was like musical theater, you know, children's courses, that kind of stuff I talked to you guys about. I had sang opera in New York, classically trained, but you know, everyone's like, oh, she's in these hip hop and R&B and country rock spaces. But it was definitely with that community as well. So I found a studio that also believed in me, you know, so I've bounced around to like recording studios. But I think that's a big part of, you know, your son's journey too, that I'll share, is finding that home. It doesn't have to be one, but I think, you know, really leaning into what do you want to tell people, really getting into writing, really starting to tell your stories. I don't think you should be locked into any one genre. If you heard when she read my bio, I think that's really important. And that's something I talk to a lot of people about, because everyone says, oh, but you got to be this, you got to be that. You know, you really have to develop it for yourself. So I think working on that range and really taking that time to like explore catalog was really important for me.
So not just in regard to your son, but I just think in general as people, every moment of our life and every moment we are a victim or we are a victor. End of story. You're living from love or you're living from fear. You have an excuse or you find a way, right? So there was a lot of things. I was a nurse in the emergency room when the pandemic started. I literally looked up in the sky and said, you are so funny, because I went back to that career once again, right? Because I wasn't trusting myself. So I took that very personal. But during that pandemic, we saw a lot of people reacted in many different ways. A lot of mental health issues went south.
right? And it wasn't the pandemic. It was the fact that a lot of people, we didn't have our coping. Like, what were our skills? What were our capabilities? What were our mindfulness tools? We weren't doing it in the first place. If you couldn't handle the pandemic and get through it, because here I was, a transformational trainer. I've done the deep work. I peeled the layers of armor. I have the 65 different tools and techniques and all the things. And shit, I went home and I was like, this sucks, right? And I was like, use your tools, use your tools. And all I did is I thank God. I felt like I was prepared. For 3 years, he prepared me for this pandemic. And I thought, damn, I'm prepared for this. And it's not easy. What's going on with the rest of the world that hasn't like woke a bit yet, right? That isn't living from consciousness. What's happening to that other 98% of our world? And it was where you were going to rise or you were going to fall, right? And whichever happened for each individual is meant to be for them, right? I have fallen over and over and only over the frick again, right? And if I didn't, though, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't keep getting up, right? Yeah, high-fiving you. We get to connect because I'm gonna help you. Like, we're building your community. I got stuff. So do you know what I mean? It's just like, so that's what I believe in it. And each individual did what was right for them. And for those of us who had some tools, the techniques, who are able to lift or rise above, that's why we're here. That's why you have a light. That's why you're supposed to speak. You're supposed to shine. You know, we're not helping anyone when we're so afraid of what someone will think of us. Let me tell you something. Nobody's thinking about you. You're special, right? But to you and God, not to everybody else. You know, it's like, God sees you. Hey, God, right? But it's like, but really, I don't care what you're wearing. I don't care what your weight is. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. The women who got up here and shared these last few days, you have opened my eyes. Like, you've made me a better woman, a better person. You've given me wisdom that I didn't have because it wasn't my journey, but you shared yours. And when we're brave enough to do that, like, holy, it changes the world. And so when the next pandemic hits, because it will, when the next big challenge hits, because it's probably tomorrow, like, we'll have supported someone. And that's what it's about, you know, and Gertrude, dear Lord, woman, what you've created, and Aaron, in these last 4 days, right? It's going to change the world. And when we honestly can see that and feel that, that's why it's so important that we share our vehicles and our tools and our talents. It's why we get clear on who we are. We have confidence. We have certainty, right? Some of you guys have moved me beyond belief. And so I thank you again for that.
Anyone else? Any more questions? Any more questions? Okay, it is lunchtime. And I want to thank you guys for the first half has been just wonderful. And there's more to come. Okay. All righty. So we're going to take a little pause. Okay. It's okay. You can do whatever you want to do.
Really quickly, I am going to be asking everyone who's attended. I just need like a 30-second video from everybody who's attended. It's got to be a little quieter. So find me, and we got to go in one of the rooms for quietness. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All righty. Have a good lunch. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot the photo. Okay. Before you break for lunch, okay, we take a photo with all of the presenters first, and then we will have a photo with you guys. I forgot. Thanks for the reminder. You're welcome. That's why I have so many helpers. Okay. I have so many helpers. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. For those of you that have not been here all week, all the lunches are labeled. So just remember what you ordered, okay, and help yourself. And if you're like me,